Hey, everybody, it's the Catholic Talk Show. We're going to be talking about our trip to Spain and France in January of 2024.
That's right. We're going on a Marian pilgrimage to the countries of France and Spain, and we want to personally invite you to go with us on this life-changing adventure.
It's been very evident in the life of the Catholic Talk Show and our friendship and with everybody out there that our Blessed Mother has been the center of our devotion and our prayer. And starting with Our Lady of Guadalupe to Our Lady of Fatima, it's amazing that Our Lady has called us on pilgrimage. And this year, 2024, coming up, we want you to come with us to the most beautiful Marian shrines in Spain and France. Starting out in Barcelona, we're going to be going to Montserrat, which is one of the most mystical places on earth. And we're going to share that with you in just a moment and how that's tied to the Blessed Mother in a beautiful and miraculous way. We're going to be going to the #1 shrine of our Blessed Mother in all of Spain. And we're talking about the Catholic Kingdom of Spain and how they built some of the most magnificent spiritual edifices in the world. We're going to the #1 shrine in Torreciudad. From there, we're going to our Blessed Mother in Lourdes, and we're going to be going to France. And, to be able to go to this miraculous place where the waters are healing massive amounts of people, and what they have in their archives is just absolutely incredible. We're going to the place where St. Dominic was entrusted with the Rosary in Toulouse. And we're going to be rounding out with a potential extension for you to go to Paris with us, visit all of the beautiful Catholic sites, but to actually go to Rue where St. Catherine Labouraire's body and her tomb remains there, and be able to celebrate Mass there and realize the entrustment of the miraculous medal and so much more. So we're going to break this open for you, but make sure that you really look into this prayerfully, because our Blessed Mother is indeed calling us. And the way that this trip, which we're going to share in just a minute, how this is all unfolded and how this has come together, has truly been an inspiration and an intervention of, I believe, of our Blessed Mother. So I know there's going to be some amazing things that happen on this trip spiritually.
This pilgrimage, Father Rich, like you said, we have went to Guadalupe with the Catholic Talk Show pilgrims. We've went to Fatima with the Catholic Talk Show pilgrims. This kind of wraps up the trilogy of major Marian sites. And when we were talking about this and planning this out, the way that this came together, the way that this became such a Marian-centric pilgrimage that we're going on, it was really inspiring. I mean, I really felt like we were being called in these conversations. I mean, we talked this through for hours and hours, making sure we were putting together a itinerary that, other pilgrimages just don't go on. I mean, Father Rich, you mentioned some of the places we're going to see, and we'll get into all of those, but I mean, to see where Our Lady appeared to St. Bernadette, to where Our Lady appeared to St. Dominic, to where Our Lady appeared to St. Catherine Labouraire's, to where Our Lady appeared to St. James. There is 4 Marian apparitions on this pilgrimage alone. I mean, I've never heard of another pilgrimage that's doing this. Plus, we're going to be seeing the tomb of St. Thomas Aquinas and all these cultural sites. Plus, we have a good time. I mean, if you've seen any of the videos that we've done of our other pilgrimages, we're going to eat great food, we're going to drink great wine, and make great friendships.
And the regions where we're going, specifically like food-wise, it's through the roof. Like unbelievable food, unbelievable architecture. The churches, the people, everybody is just, really very warm and welcoming in all of these locations. And like Scheel was saying, we're going to break down from January 10th and then all the way through to the extension that is an opportunity for you to join us all the way back to Paris. But each of these days particularly are going to be going to locations where not a lot of pilgrims go to, but it's so important to Christendom, so important to our faith. And especially when we think of the Kingdom of Spain, the Catholic Kingdom of Spain, and how important our Catholic identity in the United States of America and South America, in the Americas, are really rooted from this hub, this beautiful place. And, to go all the way back to the apparition site of St. James the Apostle, I mean, this trip is going to be amazing. And there's places that I haven't been yet that I'm so stoked about. And with Our Lady of the Holy Rosary, she is absolutely taken over my parish, this from in October. So many people are praying the rosary. We're going to the literal location where St. Dominic received that gift, you know.
Yeah.
But when we get started, like, let's just jump into day one. And we're going to be going to Sagrada Familia, which is Gaudi's most magnificent work and the continuation of the legacy of Sagrada Familia being built. We're going to go into the most, in my opinion, beautiful church in the entire world. I've never been exposed to beauty in architectural form that mirrors nature in such a fascinating way. And you will literally be communicated by God through the transcendental beauty. And you will be immersed, and the massive detail in the catechetical nature of what's happening in that church. There's never been a more communicative proclamation of the good news in architecture in stone ever. And I cannot wait to celebrate Mass at the tomb of Gaudi, which will be a huge privilege and my first time being able to do that.
Wow.
And consecrate the work here at the parish and the build out to him.
I didn't know we were praying Mass here. That's great. I mean, one of the things that I'm looking forward to is Sagrada Familia, this beautiful architecture, centuries of work that's been put into it, that's still going into it.
Yeah.
My neighbor was going to a trip to watch soccer, right, in Spain and France and Italy, and came back, and that was the first thing that he said to me. I said, "How was your trip?" He's like, "Bro, you've got to check this out." And he put it in there, and he was crying as he was expressing to me the beauty of this place.
Yep.
And I was crying with him. It was
literally
absolutely amazing.
I when I walked into the church, literally through the door, I backed up to the corner and I leaned up against the corner. I kind of squatted down and I looked up and I literally wept. And I know you guys call me Father Hanky all the time, but it was like uncontrollable. It was a church has never effectively done that to me.
Wow.
In my, like, I love the Vatican. There's so many churches that I love, you know, but it was wow factor through the roof.
Yeah.
So that's how we're starting the trip.
We're starting the trip.
Yeah. So I mean, we're so wherever you're coming from, wherever in the United States or wherever in the world, Select International, who is our partner, will help you fly into Barcelona. And Father Rich wanted to make sure this was one request that he specifically made, that we start in Barcelona, because Sagrada Familia, like Ryan, you were saying, has taken over 100 years to construct. It's probably, by almost any objective standard, the most beautiful building on the face of the earth. Mm-hmm. And this is going to really set our set the cast for the rest of this trip, you know, so that we get there immediately into the sacred space that transforms us, so that we are prepared, you know, with Mass, with this amazing space to really get into the mindset of pilgrimage as we go forward. Now, that's not the only thing that we're going to be seeing in Barcelona. Barcelona is world renowned as one of the very best places for cuisine and culture on the entire globe. We're going to be seeing things like the Picasso Museum, the famous Spanish artist. We're going to be going to the Basilica of Santa Maria del Mar, which was, I mean, that's a famous Netflix series, The Cathedral by the Sea. Everyone knows that. We're going to have a chance to do like the local markets and drink wine and have great meals that are particular to Barcelona. So starting in Barcelona was Father Rich's idea, and I'm really, really excited about that.
Yeah, and we put this thing together, you guys. I'm really proud of how we did this. We worked a long time,
yes,
this trip together to make sure it worked in a lot of different facets, a lot of different ways. Barcelona is a great place to, and what I love about the beginning of this trip is that we're all going to get to know each other. We're all going to be drinking, you know, wine and talking over dinner and walking these beautiful streets, seeing the Sagrada Familia. It's just a great launch point for everything that we're going to do. And I'm really glad that we chose that place to start it out.
Yeah, and it's a safe city. You know, Select has an amazing team that are going to be meeting us. And, you know, the experience of, I just want to reemphasize, like, the cuisine and the squares and the places to hang out in Barcelona are amazing. Like, and I can't wait to introduce, you know, in our free time, if anybody wants to come with me, I'll show you the church that I discovered when I was reviewing architecture in Spain, to honor the Spanish colonial revival. The actual church that is the inspiration at the heart of it, with what we're developing and designing here.
Oh, that's cool.
Paul II.
Yeah, I'd like to see that. I mean, that's super cool. So we are still, so that's the first 2 days in Barcelona, really absorbing the culture there. The third day, we are going to Montserrat. Father Rich, tell us a little bit about Montserrat, what your experiences are, and what our pilgrims can expect to see there.
So Montserrat is just a very short trip from Barcelona, about an hour, and it is the most mystical mountaintop experience that I would relate to my own spiritual experience of all the pilgrimages I've done in my life and the places I've been. You know, I would rank up on like Mount Krishevek in Medjugorje, or Croagh Patrick in Ireland, where St. Patrick climbed up that mountain and fasted for 40 days. You know, the magnitude of spiritual power and encounter with the mystery and the depth of your prayer on top of this mountain is tremendous. And from the boys choir singing, they have like an incredible choral educational effort up there in the schools, and to hear the monks chanting in this beautiful church, where this image of the Black Madonna, and legends have it all the way back to St. Luke, again, like in respect to, you think of Our Lady of Czestochowa. But the history is that they were, you know, these monks were climbing the mountain. They discovered this statue, and they tried to carry it down to honor her and put her in the church. And she became so heavy that they couldn't carry her. And they were inspired to build the church on top of Mount Montserrat. And it's a serrated mountain, so it's very unique. And I'm sure that you haven't seen a mountain like it. It really stands out very, very differently, and it feels differently too. And in a short hike, you can actually go to the cave where the statue was discovered. Now the statue is suspended above the sanctuary, where you climb upstairs and you can actually go right to the image of Our Lady and bring your petitions. And the anticipation as you're praying the rosary and you're waiting for your turn to turn to our Blessed Mother and pray your petition, and to see the affinity and the amount of folks that have gone there over the years and feel that that presence of her intercession and her love is really impactful. So I cannot wait to go to Montserrat and just immerse myself in prayer. And we're going to have some time to hike around a little bit. But what I'm excited about too is that we're going to a place that I haven't been yet, and I've been waiting for this for a long time. Right around the corner from there, Manresa, is where St. Ignatius of Loyola developed the interior life of the spiritual exercises. So, you know, we have a lot to give thanks for in relationship to this mountain range, where, you know, St. Ignatius parked himself in this cave and developed one of the most important deposits of faith in spirituality and the interior life and the discernment of spirits, that the church has still benefited from for hundreds of years. So to actually go to that location is going to be thrilling when we're leaving Barcelona on the way to Zaragoza.
So that's day 4. Day 5, we're now heading from Montserrat to one of the largest monasteries in the world and a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and that's the Monastery of Poblet, which is like it's like this a massive, and you can see these pictures, this massive monastery. And we can explore the monastic life. We can explore how the interior life, particularly in the Catholic culture of Spain, really influenced some of the great saints in our tradition. Again, this is an absolutely stunningly beautiful site. Then we're also going to go to the hill town, an ancient city right by there, Mont Blanc, right? Where it's an ancient walled city. We're going to have a really great lunch, and we're going to explore the city with all the shops, with all the culture.
Mm-hmm. And this town in particular is known as one of the most beautiful places in all of Spain. And, you know, when you are elevated so high, and just, you know, like the fog, the beauty of this ancient city, the clouds, like from what I've heard, people who have gone here absolutely love it. So this is another area that I have not yet had the privilege to go to, but it's something I'm really looking forward to, especially pulling in the evening and then having, some nighttime fun and going around to these and exploring this beautiful city together. Will be really special.
Yeah, and the
Yeah.
sanctity of monasteries, like just, like I remember the first time I ever went to a monastery, I was just like, these guys pray all the time. They're literally in devotion and prayer to God. And then you go to one that's been, prayed in for centuries and centuries and centuries, and you're just like, it's something on a spiritual magnitude that you can't really fathom, until you experience it.
So this brings us to day 6, and we're still in Zaragoza, and we're going to go to a fascinating place. And when you think about, what you were talking about, DellaCrosse, like, you go to these places, these are sacred spaces. There's like deep history, and in the American mindset, we go back to like 1565, St. Augustine, Florida, and Mission Nombre de Dios. And even when you go into the Mission, which is my favorite place in the United States of America, I love praying there. You guys know that. But that church, has been destroyed, has been burnt down to the ground several times. It's like 18th century. It's been reformed. It's actually just been renovated. You feel it. It's powerful. But we're talking about, this church where we're going to go on day 6. This goes all the way back to the Apostle James, where he had an apparition. And when we see Our Lady of Pilar this morning on day 6 to celebrate Mass and have prayer and reflection in this place, and tying the sense of where Our Lady has brought us on pilgrimage together, and how we've gone to the tomb of St. James along the Santiago de Compostela, along the way. And now we're going to his place where he encountered Our Lady along his path to his own martyrdom. This is a significant moment of strength. And a lot of people don't get to see this particular basilica that enshrines the pilar, this pillar on which the Virgin Mary appeared to St. James during his mission in Spain. So, when you think of the fulfillment of what Our Lady and what God is doing through these pilgrimages, she's clearly doing something. So I have a deep gut sense that this is going to be a very important place for us to visit on January 15th, day 6.
Yeah, this is our first Marian apparition site of the 4 that we're going to be seeing. And being that we're on a pilgrimage and it's tied to St. James and the Camino de Santiago, I think this will really help get us in the mindset that, yeah, we're on a trip to have fun. We're having great meals. We're having drinks. We're having fun. But we are primarily and fundamentally on a pilgrimage, and even more specifically, a Marian pilgrimage. And we'll get the opportunity to kiss the actual spot that Our Lady appeared, where she stood on the pillar. That's a once in a lifetime opportunity, and how it ties to the country of Spain and the pilgrimages. If you went with us to Santiago last year, this ties into it very well, but then it also sets us out into the other half of this pilgrimage going forward. It's going to be a really, really a unique experience.
Yeah. And I think day 7, like after having this encounter where we're reverencing the first apparition site of 4, we're going to go to the number 1 and most beautiful church dedicated to our Blessed Mother in Torreciudad, and another remote location on the way to Lourdes. And this is going to prime us in prayer to head over the Pyrenees Mountains and climb up these beautiful edifices in rock and see some of the most breathtaking sights in the natural landscape, and then in a sculpted architecture that is upheld as one of the most beautiful churches in the world, but the number 1 Marian shrine, most certainly in Spain. So we're stoked about sharing that with you, and I can't wait to visit.
Yeah, I mean, this has been a place of pilgrimage since the 11th century, and kind of talking about that historical aspect. For 1,000 years, people have been going here and bringing their prayers and contemplating the face of Christ here in this magnificent, beautiful setting just on the other side of the Pyrenees. And, we did this intentionally, right? This is going to be our last stop in Spain. And this is the number 1 Marian site in Spain. So we've had this kind of formative trip up until this point that really sets us in the mindset of being pilgrims. And it takes us right up to the Pyrenees Mountains, which kind of more or less form the border between Spain and France.
Right.
So then after we go to Torreciudad, this beautiful place, we're going to have mass there. We're going to have a great, lunch there. From there, we are driving through the Pyrenees over the border now into France to what I would say is the centerpiece of this pilgrimage. And we're going to be entering into Lourdes for day 8 and 9. So we're going to be spending the next 2 days of this pilgrimage in Lourdes.
And the site on top of the Pyrenees and going through that mountaintop experience is breathtaking. So we're going to be able to take pictures up there and then have that anticipation, like you're saying, of descending down into this village of Lourdes that is simple yet magnificently beautiful, and the spiritual centerpiece of really Marian spirituality for all of France and the whole world, really. One of the most important apparition sites in church history, and to be able to go there together. I know, Deli, with you and what we were sharing before is going to be very special with you and Jen.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that. Like I said, I haven't been to some of these places. I'm very excited about it, but it's funny, how we had everything going on for the Holy Land, and then there are very unfortunate events that occurred there that are still occurring. And switching this and just kind of going through this itinerary, I was really overwhelmed with joy that I'd be able to, take Jen to Lourdes, because we were going to go there anyways. I mean, it was really something that I had planned with her because of her medical condition, or incurable cancer. So what a joy that's going to be. She's really excited. The boys are excited. So don't know what to expect, bringing our faith, obviously, and then our love for Mary and our Marian devotion as a family. There's a very significant thing for us,
Yeah. I've always wanted to go to Lourdes. I can't tell you how many times I have spent looking on like Google Earth and looking around Lourdes. I go, one day, I'm going to go there. And Our Lady of Lourdes has been, since my earliest memories, my grandma's devotion to her. Lourdes is maybe the most famous Marian apparition, up there with Fatima and Guadalupe. And that's why it's the third in our Marian trilogy here. But we're going to get to see the birthplace of Saint Bernadette, the little converted jail where her family lived. We're going to get to see her incorrupt relics. We're going to get to go down to the grotto at Massabielle and see where she dug in the ground in the spring with a miraculous water came up. We're going to get a chance to drink the water right out of the grotto and celebrate Mass there, where so many healings have had. So if you maybe have something that you're going to be bringing with you to Lourdes looking for healing, this is that opportunity. And there's been no place that I can think of in the church where more scientifically documented healings that completely defy explanation by science, but are backed up and categorized and recorded by science have occurred. This is going to be maybe one of the most, if not the most powerful religious experience in your lives, going to Lourdes, seeing where Our Lady came as the Immaculate Conception to Saint Bernadette.
I'm remembering, just as I'm listening, I had an incredible experience when I went to Lourdes. I was there for 7 days. And, this pilgrimage is jam-packed with amazing experiences, from food, fellowship, fun, architecture, churches, really amazing ancient cities, and places along the way. And we have incredible itinerary set for you. But when you get to Lourdes, just like Fatima, you want time to explore and pray. So we're going to give you some free time in Lourdes to do just that. And I'm remembering, as I was listening to you, Scheel, I went into adoration, and there was a massive amount of people. I mean, like thousands and thousands of people in this exposition, and everybody's jam-packed in there. And I knelt all the way in the back, and I heard the Lord in my heart, saying, "Richard, I want you to come all the way up front to me." And I'm looking, I'm there's no way to get up there. And I heard it, like I heard that kind of pressing word in my heart again. So like I jump up and I just start moving forward. And like it was like this kind of parting of people. And I went literally all the way up to the front. And at the same time, the priest received the Blessed Sacrament of the Monstrance, came down from this kind of centerpiece in this like round auditorium place, and comes directly up to me. I hit my knees, and then he's right in front of my face with the Blessed Sacrament, and then blesses me. It was, I'm getting chills just sharing that testimony. I don't think I've shared that story much, but like just from the baths, going in the water, the experience on in your body, your soul, the cave where the apparition took place. Like there are so many places where you just want to pray and meditate, and it's so immersive and so therapeutic and healing in every respect. So with a mind, heart, body, soul, like it is healing grace and rays of mercy coming out of this place.
It reminds me of Fatima. You know, we went on the tour and the village, and you know, the shrine is around where she appeared with children, and just the exploration there that everybody that was on the pilgrimage experienced. You know, it's just like we all kind of met in the hotel lobby, you know, people coming in and out, and that amount of free time that we had, I think it was amazing for everybody, because they all had these different stories, you know, and you're listening to them and you're meeting different people. And I think that's what I've heard from other pilgrimages is that this free time that we generate for our pilgrims is a very fruitful.
Oh yeah.
You know,
and some of the most impactful.
A lot of pilgrimages, it's just go, get in the bus, go. And you lose the sense of prayer.
Sit here, listen to a talk.
Yeah. We have been very deliberate in saying, okay, how do we make this not just amazing experiences, but very prayerful and very edifying? And we talked about it. We said, look, one of the things we really want to make sure is that there is some structured free time so that people can pray, people can experience grace as it comes to them, as they are attracted to it, instead of trying to fabricate every moment. Look, we're going to take you to this beautiful place after we have prepared all together in prayer, and then say, go free, my children, and go explore and pray.
Here's Our Lady, go. You know, here's Jesus, go.
Like, we're trying to bring you to Our Lady, and then she'll take care of it from there. But we want to make sure that you have time to visit with her, you know?
Yeah, so true.
It really expresses our spirituality in the show too, as well, you know?
Yeah, there's a spontaneity and an openness in the charismatic response to the opportunity that's in front of you. And you know, like my hope is in my free time in Lourdes, I want to go back to community Cenacolo, and I spent, you know, like I said, 6 days with community there. The community that Mother Elvira, God rest her soul, she just recently passed, founded for addicts. And I've been, you know, connected to that beautiful community for close to 20 years now. And so, you know, I'm definitely going to go back there, and, you know, obviously if you wanted to come with me too, we could work that out. But, you know, I really, you know, to explore your freedom and be able to immerse yourself wherever the Spirit is moving you will be key in Lourdes, to have this, you know, foundational experience and this encounter with grace, like you guys are talking about.
You know, I mentioned it briefly, but we're going to be going to the basilica that's built down on top of the place of the adoration, where Saint Bernadette is entombed. And we're going to get to see her incorrupt body and pray before that. And Saint Bernadette is one of the big saints for me. That's one of the big saints for me, just in her simplicity, you know, and the beauty of who Mary chooses to appear to. Mary could appear to Napoleon, or Mary could appear to George Washington, or Elon Musk, or any important person, but no, she appears to some incredibly poor, asthmatic, simple, no defining characteristic of greatness in a garbage dump. That's, to me, has always been one of the most beautiful things to contemplate. Is the truth and the beauty that our God comes down to us through Mary as the incarnate Lord, and comes down to us in our humanity. And where can you find more humanity than in the most simplest people in a simple village in a garbage dump,
Yeah.
but then how it's transformed into this place where millions of people have gone and found healing. That, to me, is the gospel in stone.
Mm-hmm. It's so true. It's so true, and it's so heartwarming, and so many of us, experience the lowliness of life, or the humiliations of like the humble moments of feeling like I don't have a great life in front of me, or like God's not going to call me to something great. And God surprises you, like God calls you to greatness, and he calls the humble of heart. Like he calls you out of your poverty, and we all have that, and we need to bring that to God properly. Problem is when we do have gifts or talents, it's like we want to just kind of help ourselves. But when you learn from the saints, just like Saint Bernadette, and just humbly turn to Our Lady, humbly turn to Christ, it's like the fullness of grace is there for you, to build you up in your poverty. So I'm so stoked about Lourdes, guys.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And going back, it's been years.
All right. So now on to day 10, the final day of the standard pilgrimage. We are going to Toulouse, and we are going to be doing some magnificent, such cool things, where when we were talking about this, I didn't even consider this was a place that was possible for us to visit. And we're like, this is such a great idea to go here, which is we are going to the exact spot. Now, this is the third Marian apparition. We're going from Lourdes, one Marian apparition, to another, where Our Lady appeared to Saint Dominic and gave him the rosary. I mean, have you ever considered where the rosary came from? Have you ever considered going on a pilgrimage here? This is the birthplace of the Holy Rosary. What a mind-blowing place.
Yeah.
And to me, I'm like, I never thought to go
crazy.
there. And then we're planning this, like, dude, we have to go.
It's like Our Lady. Like that's what it's exactly what we're talking about. Like this,
she planned this trip, not us. She planned this trip.
Like it's amazing how this has all come together. And I could have never imagined it either. And the rosary's on the move right now, buddy. Like all over the place, people are picking up the rosary. When I preached about it around the feast of the Holy Rosary, and in October, this guy came up to me when I was holding, it was the feast of St. John Paul II, and I'm holding his relic, and I see this like towering guy, tattoos, like kind of like looked like a real rough and gruff kind of a guy. And he comes up and he's like, what do I do? What do I do with this? And I was like, well, it's the blood of St. John Paul II. If you want to touch your rosary to it, if you want to kiss it, it's like, this is how you reverence, first class relic. And he's like, okay. And he's like, I don't know why I'm here, but like, I started praying this like 2 weeks ago, and it's like changing my life, and I'm coming back to church. And it was like, how, like, and I'm telling you, it's extensive, the amount of people that are praying the rosary. And just like a big shout out to Yvonne, who's just like a rosary maker machine. She makes more rosaries than the Vatican. I'm hoping that she and her family can come on this pilgrimage with us. I know she's discerning it, but to go to the place where she has received so much solace in the rosary, in her suffering and in her grief, like to be able to go to that location, and share these moments with the pilgrims and pray the rosary, where Dominic,
that we're all going to get to pray the rosary together at the spot where the rosary was given by Our Lady.
Yeah, it's so cool.
That's really, what I was just been thinking about, is just praying the rosary there.
Right? How absolutely incredible, what an experience that is. Now, that's not the only thing we're doing. So because Saint Dominic, right? That's where he got the rosary. That was the base of operation of the site where the Dominicans were founded. So who's another really famous Dominican besides Saint Dominic? My guy, your guy.
I would say
Saint Thomas Aquinas.
Angelic Doctor. Boom, boom, boom.
So we are wrapping up the trip. The end of this trip is we get to go and visit the relics of Saint Thomas Aquinas, his tomb, and pray at the site of maybe the smartest guy who's ever lived, but who threw it all away because holiness was more important. The guy who wrote the Summa, but then the guy who wrote the Tantum Ergo, right? Yeah. St. Thomas Aquinas has influenced so much that we do, and that we get to go and pray at his tomb. on the last day of our pilgrimage after having these Marian sites is, again, I didn't even consider that we could add this onto this trip. So it's so exciting that we get to do that at the site of the founding of the Dominicans, where the rosary was given to St. Dominic, and the tomb of Thomas Aquinas, is just mind-blowing.
And to be able to sing some of those hymns at the tomb of St. Thomas Aquinas,
and like, just, I think also the preparation and going there, and then we're going to have a little bit of a drive, and, just to just contemplate the deposit that he's generated for our faith is a monumental task. I mean, it's almost like he started the whole idea of a doctor in a church,
Yeah.
And to give you a sense of Toulouse too, like, this is like a big hub, big city. So there's a lot of flights in, a lot of flights out. It's one of the bigger airports, and it's a big city, and it's really a cool city. So looking at some of these aerial shots of the city and the churches and the environment that we're going to be staying in is going to be really neat, to be able to have our last dinner with some of the pilgrims that are going to be leaving and not taking the extension. This is going to be a special night because we're going to be sharing graces. We're going to be having fellowship. We're going to really celebrate, and how fitting to kind of come to that third apparition, and then to see off those who are going back to the United States after a beautiful 10-11 day trip. And to be able to wake up the next morning, for those of us that are going to stay for the extension, and move in the direction of the beautiful city of Paris, that is just such a place of romance and history and architecture, and really the ethos and the cultural identity of the French people. And to go to that fourth apparition site to close out everything with the miraculous medal and St. Catherine Labouré. Wow.
Now, before we get into the extension, that first part that we just described is the main core of the trip. If you want to sign up, there is very limited space. All of the pilgrimages we do are always sold out. So you go to catholictalkshow.com/Lourdes and you can sign up. There's all kinds of options. Select International is really the best in the business, and making accommodations, getting you there safe, on time, having 4-star beautiful hotels, amazing meals that are culturally significant, but also just incredibly delicious, great wine, amazing guides. That is all taken care of you with Select International. So if you go to catholictalkshow.com/Lourdes, you can sign up for that core part of the pilgrimage. Now, if you want to continue on, there's an extension. And this extension, I think, is incredibly excited. Like you said, we're going up to Paris. But one of the cool things is we're taking a train from Toulouse through the French countryside all the way up to Paris. So, I mean, you're going to see a large swath of France and its natural beauty on a train, like this romantic 19th century adventure. We can probably have a glass of wine and a coffee or whatever on this train, look out the window and see this. Yeah, whatever you like.
And it's like, you're going to see rolling hills of sunflowers. You're going to see mountains. You're going to, and unlike like the early 20th century train, this is like a bullet train, and it's so smooth and so clean. I don't want you to think, if you've never been on a European train or like one of these bullet trains, don't think like train, like American mindset. Like, this is an experience, and it's an outstanding one, because the train is super clean. The windows that they have on this thing just provide so much visibility, and the cafes that they have on there are top notch. Great food, great drinks, beverages, and it'll be a lot of fun to hop on a train with everybody that's willing to stick around and to head up to Paris. And the time flies. Like, I've been on that bullet train before, and it flies by, and you love every second of it. Now, some people may take a nap or whatever, but like, I love staying up and seeing every little bit of it.
I'll probably do a little both, a little nap, a little look. Now, on that first day, we are going to do a tour where you're going to see all the sites that you have always expected to see when you go to Paris. So we're going to see the Eiffel Tower. We're going to see Notre Dame Cathedral. We can't go in because it's still being renovated from the fire, but we'll get to see the beautiful facade. We'll see the Louvre Museum. We're going to see the Seine River. We're going to see all these beautiful sites that you're going to understand why people for centuries have said Paris is the city of lights and beauty. And we're going to take a tour and go to all of these sites so that you can get this kind of this cultural experience of what Paris really is like, you know. So that's the first day. So we get on the train, go to Paris, see all the sites. Now, this is day 12. Father Rich, this one's awesome. This is the fourth and the last of our Marian apparitions, and we are going to Rue de Bac. Tell us all about that.
So we're going to get up early. I'm going to try to get up super early and walk from the hotel, no matter how far it is. Hopefully it's not like too super far. But you know, one of my favorite things in and around Rue de Bac are the pastries and these pastry shops. And when you're up early and like there's not a lot of people on the streets, and the smell of the pastries that are the most delicious pastries you will ever have in your entire life. And to be able to get one with a coffee and then walk to Rue de Bac, which is just like it's really like a very simple facade. You could miss it even. And like you see, and then you walk through this like little pathway, and then it opens up to a little courtyard. And then that little courtyard leads you kind of like sideways into like these doors. And then you open up into this beautiful church where you have the incorruptible saints. You've got Saint Catherine Labouré, you've got this other saint, and then you have this beautiful altarpiece, and you just encounter like this is a special place. And come to find out, like this is where Our Lady revealed herself in the fullness of her grace. And so many graces that are unbeseeched from her, that she instructed Saint Catherine Labouré how to petition her, and then entrusted her with the miraculous medal.
After we go, we're going to celebrate Mass at that church. So make sure you have your miraculous medal. Get a lot, right? Like Father Rich said, have them blessed at this spot and bring them back, give them out.
Mm-hmm.
That's a amazing opportunity. Now, I didn't even, I said, hey, we're going to get to see the tombs of these three saints. We're going to see another one, and I completely missed it. St. Vincent de Paul. We are going over and venerating his relics just a couple streets over from Rue de Bac. That is going to be great because St. Vincent de Paul is he's the apostle of charity. He's one of the great saints, and his incorrupt relics are going to be there as well. So that's another 4 Marian apparitions, 4 tombs of saints. I think there's a beautiful symmetry to that.
And it's so cool when you go to St. Vincent de Paul and you walk into the church, it's like the lighting in there is like perfect. And it's like kind of dark, and then the different sacred spaces are lit up very softly, but you can actually go all the way up to his tomb through the glass and see his incorrupt body and pray right there above the Blessed Sacrament. Like you're on this platform, and because he's suspended above, and it's a very cool church, very cool chapel to pray in. So we'll really be able to enjoy that. And it's literally like 1 block down, 1 block over.
Yep.
And you're there. Really close to that pastry shop that I was.
The coffee. The last time, I never really liked European coffee until the last time we went to Fatima, and now I'm absolutely hooked, and I cannot wait to go and have some good French coffee and pastry and like the little ham roll things. It's gonna be awesome.
Oh yeah.
Now that day is not over. We are going now to. You guys remember Bishop Barron's Catholicism series? I think
yeah.
I have it there. Here, I have it right here.
Oh, nice.
Okay. Remember this place on the cover?
Legendary. Yeah, man.
We are going to that church. We are going to Sainte Chapelle, which is home to some of the most beautiful and famous stained glass windows in the entire world. I mean, this place is the pinnacle of Gothic architecture. This is a photo op for our lifetime. This place is unparalleled in its, I guess, use of light and stained glass to make something that is just so elevated that it's like a foretaste of heaven being there.
Yeah, okay, and it really I know. Just going through this, this has been exciting. Just to again, like, just think how this has all come together, and the unfortunate situation with the war, now the ceasefire, and like we're praying for continued reconciliation and peace in the Middle East, and peace in Jerusalem, and so that people can go back and visit the sites of Jesus. And And we do hope to eventually be able to get back there when it's safe to return. But, want to make sure that as we're nearing the end of this episode, to share with you the fruits of this pilgrimage, that we still pray for peace, and we still pray for all of those who have lost lives, and the poor, especially, that suffer the worst in wars. That we pray from our hearts that God continues to draw hearts together and reconcile enemies. But how this has come together, and sharing how our Blessed Mothers just intervened in this unfortunate situation to create something so purposeful, so meaningful in the spiritual life, and so us. Like, she is so us. She's the very heartbeat of our show, and that she's bringing us there, like, actively. Whenever this has happened with our Blessed Mother, something massive is about to happen, and we definitely want you to be a part of it. And like Scheel was saying, these spots sell out quick, so we want to make sure that you hop on this quickly. To those who still have credits, use those credits. This is an opportunity right now, and it's an opportunity you don't want to miss, because we have some great things in store. And whether it's the churches, the architecture, the towns, the history, the incorrupt saints, the apparition sites of the Blessed Mother, shopping, food, fellowship, fun, experiences that you're going to enjoy for a lifetime, and the photo ops of all of these beautiful places, you're going to really be able to catalog this in the books as one of the greatest trips of your life. And we're excited about you choosing to come with us again on Pilgrimage 2024 in January.
Now, last day of the pilgrimage, we wrap it all up in Paris, where we are going. And you mentioned the heart of the trip and praying for peace. We're going to Sacré-Cœur, the Basilica of the Sacred Heart of Jesus. And I mean, I know a lot of you probably have the image of the Sacred Heart up in your home. That's one of those indulged acts, right? I have it up in our home. We're going to that basilica dedicated to the Sacred Heart of Jesus, so we could pray, wrapping up this pilgrimage, that everything that we do to Jesus through Mary, right?
Yep.
That we bring it all the experiences, all the things that we've learned on this trip, all the things that we've contemplated in prayer, and we end up bringing it to Christ in his most sacred heart. I think it's such a beautiful way to
crescendo. It's so true. And it's like, what does Mary do? She magnifies the Lord. What does Mary do? She says, do whatever he tells you. What does Mary do? She draws us in greater devotion and contemplation in the beauty of the face of Christ. And to be able to contemplate that heart that was beating within her womb, and realize the love that our Blessed Mother has in her heart for Christ, her Son, and her love in her heart for her children, entrusted to us on Christ's cross, that we are her children, and she's going to bring us into deeper communion with our Lord. And it's going to be awesome to finish up at this beautiful site. It's elevated above the city of Paris. Another photo op that we're going to actually take a big group picture up there, because it's a perfect setting for it. And it is an amazing vista of the entire city. And then inside the church, you have adoration of the Blessed Sacrament, literally his heart exposed in one of the most beautiful reliefs that I've ever seen, exposition of the Blessed Sacrament, where it's in, Jesus is in the monstrance, and it's fascinating how the trumpets blow and the Eucharist is revealed, and then the trumpets blow and the incense and the Eucharist is reposed, and then we celebrate Mass. I participated and I've attended Mass. This will be the first time that I'm actually going to celebrate Mass. In my Mass of Thanksgiving, when I went to Paris, I had to go back to Rue du Bac to say thank you to St. Catherine Labouré and to our Blessed Mother, because that was a huge inspiration for me. But to be able to go back up to Sacred Heart, Sacré-Cœur, like, that's going to be super special. And to round out the whole trip, the Immaculate Heart moving us into the Sacred Heart and that gaze, and close that out with the seal of the love of the two hearts is going to be very special.
That's right. And then that night, we wrap it up with the final farewell dinner. We are doing a river cruise on the Seine River, where we're going to, you'll see Paris beside you. You'll see the Eiffel Tower. You're going to be on this boat eating fine French food
And Lord
the
knows
river.
we have fun on boats.
That's
Oh yeah, we do have a little bit of fun on boats on pilgrimages, right? Don't
yeah,
we?
cut to a little promo to that boat trip. That was funny. That was very
That was
funny.
awesome. Again, guys, I think one of the things that makes going on a pilgrimage with us unique is that number one, we're working with Select International, who, like I said, perfect accommodations. They take care of everything. If there's any issues, they take care of it. The guides are amazing. The accommodations are safe and beautiful. The food's great. It's amazing. But then, the three of us, I mean, we're there with you. We're making friends with you. We are pilgrims with you. Father Rich is celebrating Mass. Ryan DellaCrosse is probably dancing on some table, blasting music, having a great time.
I'm sorry,
Making
I'm
sure-
the only guy on the bus that has like evening prayer with my crew. Okay,
Look, you're the most spiritual. Look, you party hard, you pray hard, Ryan. We know how
that's
you roll.
right.
That's it.
That's right.
But it's going to be a really fun time of spirituality, of discovery, exploration, and fraternity. Really getting to know these people who are going on this trip with us. We are pilgrims with you. We're not, just a guide. We are part of you, part of this group. So to be able to experience this with you, this amazing trip, it's a trip of a lifetime. So again, go to CatholicTalkShow.com/Lourdes. There's not many spots left. So make sure that you sign up immediately. If you have any questions, that link will let you go right through to Select International. They can tell you anything that you need to know about getting from wherever you're at, getting over to Barcelona, and beginning this amazing trip with us. So again, we want to invite you personally, and I can't wait to see you all on this trip, guys.
Yeah, me too. I can't wait. And, just to share with you the wonderful news that we've secured him once again, the man, the myth, the legend, the great Father John H. Tetlow, rector of the Cathedral of St. Augustine.
That is worth the price of the trip alone.
That is where absolutely. And he has all sorts of jingles, memorized from the 1930s all the way up to present day. And he will entertain you on the bus rides and hear your confessions. And just a beautiful priest, a beautiful soul. For those of you who know him from previous shows or know him from a previous pilgrimage, or you've known him from the Diocese of St. Augustine, he's a great priest, and he'll be joining with us as well. And we want you to say yes to this opportunity of a lifetime to join us in Spain and France, visiting 4 apparition sites of our Blessed Mother and having a transformative experience that'll mold your spiritual life so deeply and so profoundly.